that was when Marvel was at its lowest ebb creatively, where they couldn't seem to buy a hit, and every new project was like, why even do this when not only is it not going to sell now, but it has no hope of ever selling? No one's going to rediscover this in 15 years.
Come on and visit for any occasion. Don't keep Pat and Dal waiting. Comics and conversation. Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers. And now, here are Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
It's not that I don't think you believe in me. It's that I know you do, but sometimes, unless I go looking for it, I don't feel it.
You need to hear me say it.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's there.
Yeah.
I know it's there, but
it just needs to be reaffirmed.
Not daily. It's not a daily affirmation.
I don't
once
know,
in a while.
I don't know that I believe in you every day.
I mean, I wouldn't.
I believe in you most days. So maybe, like, if you don't hear me say it, assume that I don't believe in you.
Oh, great.
Like,
See,
if I don't
believe
if I don't
in me
tell
every
you
day.
each day, that means that day. I mean, you could still succeed. Like, you could still do good things and be happy. It would just be more of a surprise to me,
Sure.
as opposed to other days where I'm like, I knew he was capable of that.
Where in the day would this affirmation be? Like,
oh, who knows?
Do I start the day
sometimes
with the belief? Like, I think it's easier for me if it comes at the end of the day, so I look forward to it all day. And if I don't get it, it's like, dip. And then I go to bed, and the next morning it's like, all right, maybe today's the day.
Not to get too granular on this, but sometimes my evaluation of you changes through the day, how much I believe in you. Like, you could do things or say things that'll make me think, oh, this is not his day.
So is it a descending scale? Like, do you start a day with 100% belief, and then I lose some of that?
No, I'm pretty much firmly on the fence, 50%. Like, it could go either way. I don't have a preconception each day of, like, your capabilities. Like, sometimes it's, I want to believe. Like, I kind of, not force myself, but I generate that feeling within myself. Sometimes it's demonstrated to me, and I go, yes, this is, he's got it today. And then some days it's the opposite, where it's something will happen, and I'll be like, nope, better luck tomorrow.
I mean, that's how I live my life.
Sure.
Better luck tomorrow.
I genuinely can't remember where we got started. What feeling am I supposed to have? What is it? Belief in you? Is that what it is? Okay.
Belief.
We got real in the weeds on that one.
Or pride. Or, I don't know, loyalty.
Those are different things. Those are all different emotions.
There is a new club member that we have. And this person just makes life so much harder for everyone. By coming in almost daily, asking to see everything they have on hold, which is not unsubstantial.
No.
Going through it meticulously, asking, like, how much are these two? How much are these three? And then putting almost everything but 2 or 3 books back, and then getting 1 or 2 books off the shelf. And if it's a once-a-week thing, fine.
Sure.
But when you do it the last 2 days that I worked, it's like you're not making life easier for anyone. And then as I'm going through things, and each time the books get messed up, and each time I endeavor to put them back in alphabetical order, so the next time it's easier.
So here's the trick, because I think I know which subscriber that is.
I'll give you a hint. I did not know they were a subscriber until yesterday.
Oh, then maybe not.
They are a regular shopper. I did not know they were in the club.
Oh, okay.
You probably know they're in the club. You're better with that kind of stuff.
Well, there is a specific subscriber who comes in who doesn't necessarily get everything, but will pick through. And a couple times this is the same subscriber who will ask for a printout of their subscriptions, make changes to them, hand them back in, you make the changes, and then they go, can I get a printout of my list? Even though it's literally like you just did it. Like, there's no change.
Yeah.
The same subscriber has done things where they will not get everything that day or just want to see what they have to come back and get it the next day. And they'll put them in order of how they want to buy them and impress upon me that they want them put back in the box in that order because they need them in that order. And all I can think is, more comics are coming like in 2 days. This is all going to get screwed up. Like, we cannot keep it in this order, or it's way more work for us. And yeah, I don't know if it's the same subscriber or not, but that's someone who's fairly recent who has managed to generate more work than they have revenue.
Yeah, not a bad person, a nice guy.
Sure.
But then as I'm going through things and there's a pause, that's when the "how's your day going?" comes out. It's like, you don't want the answer to that.
Let's pretend you didn't ask.
You don't. You don't. Sure. There was a subscriber who was in today who, as they're standing at the counter, as I'm ringing them up, they look at the books that are coming out in December on the sheet that's on the back of the thing.
On the monitor.
Yeah, and they say, "Hey, can you add me to this book and this book?" Of course, absolutely. Write it down. They leave, pull up their account, already down for both books.
Yep.
Both books.
That happens pretty regularly.
And then there was, this is not this person's fault, but there was an email that we got last night. I'm like, I'll do it in the morning. So I go into that club member's account.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I can't find
all
any
these
of these
things
books.
are removed except Superior Spider-Man. What's going on?
Uh-huh.
So I think you missed one.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, Superior Spider-Man.
Okay.
But once I saw the special orders, I'm like, oh,
Sure.
never mind.
Okay. Yeah.
That's fine. Which is how I know not to answer.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I did. I probably did miss Superior Spider-Man. I think I know who you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But it was like none of these are on your list, dummy.
You crazy person.
I did not say that. I did not say none of these are on your list, dummy. I did say to Lizzie, I'm like, none of these are on his. Wait, this one. I think it's because that person was on the screen when I came in.
Yeah. I was probably working on stuff last night, and I thought, I'll do those.
Sure.
And then I missed one.
Why not? Why not? It's the way it goes. Sometimes you do things and something goes wrong and you don't realize it because no one tells you. Like the computer rebooted overnight, so I had to reset up the monitor for the Apple TV and recast the page.
For the new releases,
yeah.
Sure.
Well, it wasn't till later in the day that I actually looked at that screen and saw that it was all like pixelated and
I've
digitized.
had that happen a couple times.
Like, oh, no, nobody said anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew last night because when I was walking home past the store, you look in and it's like whatever landscape or rainforest.
Which is funny to me because that new release sign on a monitor has been up over the new releases, the new this week stuff, for like a year?
Since we moved them to there, yeah.
Yeah. And yet, frequently that monitor will not be casting, and so instead it'll just be the Chromecast landscape background. And I have never once had someone come up to the counter and go, hey, the new release sign isn't working.
I have. It's been you.
I haven't had anyone who doesn't own a portion of the company come up to the counter and say that they noticed that the new this week sign wasn't working.
I think I had one person tell me.
And that's... I don't know if no one's noticing it or no one who noticed it wanted to be the one to tell us, like we'd be offended or something. I don't know. It's very strange to me.
Are they all Diamond Secret shoppers so the monitors are invisible to them?
Yeah. One of my all-time favorite things. What did they have on the TV? NASCAR. What? No, it was a list of comic books that came out this week. NASCAR?
I don't know. I don't.
So strange. Anyway.
I always find it interesting that there's stores that would rather play videos or TV or like just comic book movies the whole time.
So, do you think that's your opinion? Is that because they think customers want that sort of thing where they want to be able to have like a Batman movie playing or Lord of the Rings playing or whatever? Or do you think that's just for the employees because they want to be watching those movies?
Before I got into comic book retail, I was in the videotape industry for several years at several different locations.
Sure.
Through high school and college. And specifically the high school, we would always have to have something playing. Mm-hmm. But we would always play our favorite movies. John Conlon would always play Pope of Greenwich Village.
Sure.
I'd always play Real Genius. Like things like that. So... And occasionally someone would be like, oh, wait, that's cool. Can I rent that? And we're like, oh, man, I was watching that.
I gotta take it out of the machine
But
now.
I mean, like, I get that because it's a promotional tool, but sure. I would not want to be, and I say this knowing that it's totally different for me in music, but I would not want to be in a store where you're watching Batman Begins every day.
Sure. I don't think it's the same movies every day. I think most of those stores have probably a selection of stuff, and certainly with stuff like Disney Plus and DC Universe, there's way more options for superhero and science fiction stuff to just have it at the ready.
But also, and I'm sure I'm wrong about this, but I wouldn't want to have people stop browsing and just watch TV.
Do you think they do?
They wouldn't in the video store.
Well, okay, but I've never seen anyone at a comic shop, and I've been in comic shops before just as a customer that had those sort of movies or TV shows playing, and nobody ever just stopped and stared at it.
Yeah.
No matter how good it was, everyone was like, well, I came here for comic books, and it's cool. I don't know if they thought it was cool that it was on. I could never get a read from people as to whether or not they were enjoying it, or whether it was just background noise that they didn't even notice, which makes me wonder, why are the stores playing it? Again, if it's for the employees, like, I really want to watch Dark Knight Rises right now. Like, that I can sort of see, although you can't really pay attention to it.
Right.
Hopefully you're doing other things. Yeah. But the alternative, again, is customers doing it, and I don't see customers being there long enough to enjoy more than 4 minutes of a Batman movie in the background while they're looking at shelves, while they're not even watching the monitor.
Back in the old days, when the music that I listened to at work was based off of CDs, mm-hmm. it would be a place where I'd want to bring new CDs, because I'm always acquiring new music, but it would feel like every time I could hear it, it's the same part on a second cycle through.
Sure.
And I was only getting to know that one song.
Sure.
But obviously the idea of a completely silent store is so unnerving.
Yeah, definitely not happening.
I don't like it when I go into offices that are like that, or any place.
Sure.
Because I like having background music. And when it's my music and I can pay attention, that's great. Or I'll stop and be like, yeah, I love this song. When it's your music, mm-hmm. I'm still glad it's there.
Okay.
I want there to be something.
It's terrible.
That's not true. I will digress and talk about last night's Gallery F show that DoomCo Designs put on.
Designs. They do good signs.
The Survive show featuring a bunch of different interpretations of Tarbis the Tardigrade. And obviously, listeners heard Kent and I talk about it last week on this very podcast. But the opening was last night, and I was there, and I met up with Challengers Club member and my longtime good friend Steve Davich. And Steve had actually made a lap before I got there. And there were some great pieces. There are some amazingly creative people, these people that deal in vinyl toys and make vinyl toys, and there was just a lot of great interpretations. I have a piece in there, as we talked about last week as well. I feel like mine held its own. I think it belonged there.
Okay.
I was happy with how it looked. They didn't use the base, because I had a base that had bloody footprints and things.
Oh.
Because their shelves are too narrow.
Oh, I see.
And they're all kind of stacked together. And mine was on, there's 2 levels of shelves. And I'm like, I want mine lower so people can, see it better. But,
sure.
But whatever. It hadn't sold as of last night, but honestly, most of them hadn't. I only saw one that had sold. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like it was rejected or anything.
Sure.
But the reason I bring it up is because afterwards we went over to Logan Bar, mm-hmm. and we got sat right by the stage. And I said, hey, is there a band tonight? And the wait person said, no, there's a DJ.
Okay.
I'm like, what time did they come on? 9? Oh, what time is it? 9? Oh, okay. But it was all like 90s emo music. It wasn't like EDM or mm-hmm. Hardcore or even punk. It was like, as Steve described it, he's like, it's kid punk.
Sure.
And I swear to God, I made a joke about Fountains of Wayne. That's Stacy's mom, right?
I don't know. Maybe.
I made a joke about that song. 2 songs later, he played it.
Wow.
Like, oh, Yikes. Man. I'm like, do you think, all right, because we were talking about Offspring. I'm like, if they play Offspring, clearly the guy's listening to us. And Steve's like, what if they play Night Flight Orchestra? I'm like, do not tease me.
Yeah, I don't think that's likely going to be in the mix.
So I brought up that story because of how you were referring to to your music.
Sure.
No Ned's Atomic Dustbin, though. I'm very sorry.
Oh, what a fiasco.
I'm very sorry. That's a lie. I don't know if they played any.
Okay. You didn't stay the whole night. Maybe they did like a whole album.
I mean,
Godfather, front to back.
I wouldn't have known if they did.
Going all the way back to something you said earlier, I'm curious, if you look back to your days of working in a video store, would you have ever thought that video stores versus comic shops would be the thing that would disappear?
That's an interesting question. I do remember when I worked in a store called Video Biz. Mm-hmm. There was Video Biz, Videorama, same store, different names.
Sure.
And then American Video.
Okay.
In college was American Video. And when it just switched over to Videorama, mm-hmm. one of our customers had said, like, hey, to my buddy JC and I, who were high school seniors.
Right.
Like, hey, you guys, I got this great stock tip. Like, it's going to make you a lot of money. Blockbuster Video. You've heard the story before.
Yeah, and in fairness, the way stocks work, it did make a lot of
people
a lot of money.
But we're like,
eventually.
God, we work at a video store. We're not going to bet against us.
Yeah.
It wasn't betting against us.
No.
We'd heard it like...
Technically, it was betting on you as a person rather than you as an employee.
True. We had already... Like, that store stocked Beta as well.
Wow.
So... I knew that was on its way out.
I'm old enough as a human being to remember going into some video stores that had a separate beta section.
Yeah, sure.
Not a huge beta section. It was, by the time I was going to video stores, even as a child, VHS was the dominant format. Like, it had already won. But it was just like, here's some beta stuff for people who just can't let it go.
To answer your question, I don't think I gave it any thought.
Okay.
I wouldn't...
You were too young to think about industries ending.
I don't think I would have bet against comics because comics was part of my whole life. Videos weren't. We didn't get a VHS player until I was in high school,
sure.
And it was one of the ones that had a corded remote,
right?
A little tiny plastic box with a giant like thing that comes out of the top to put the tape in.
I had one of those as a kid.
Top loader.
Our family had one of those for a little bit.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's, and this is way off topic from comics, or shit, maybe it's not. I wonder if it's because right now it feels like we're living in an age where way more industries are just disappearing, and then back in like the 80s and 90s, that wasn't as prominent. Like,
no, things didn't go away.
Shifted maybe a little bit. You know, record stores started carrying 8-tracks, started carrying cassette tapes, started carrying CDs, but record stores didn't really disappear.
Right.
I mean, and in a sense, some of it might have, you know, larger companies might have come in and taken smaller family-owned or sole proprietor businesses. Your local record store might have gotten, you know, killed by Sam Goody or Suncoast Sound Warehouse, Music
locally,
Warehouse.
Yeah.
But the industry itself didn't go anywhere. Now it's like you turn around and it's like, oh, you literally cannot go into a city and buy that thing anymore because no one sells it or no one makes it or just everything has moved to a different format. Like you look at streaming and how that's taken things like just going to Best Buy and seeing like a Blu-ray or something. Like, who's doing that anymore? Spotify. Like, I got an email from Merge, and the link that was in the email for
that's Merge Records.
Merge Records, the record label out of North Carolina, took me to a thing where it's like, you can buy it digitally on these places, or you could maybe go to the website, and it's like, why would you not take me immediately to your website to buy this album? And it's like, oh, because that's ridiculous. No one does that anymore. Like,
sure.
As a label, you exist to maybe sell some like colored vinyl, but mostly to tell people, hey, go to Spotify or Apple Music and go listen to this thing.
But more people than ever before are making music.
They are.
More people than ever before
are basically gone.
Are making comics.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's interesting to me is that mediums aren't going anywhere. I mean, you look at things like TV and movies, which are becoming one filmed unit of entertainment, just broken up different ways.
Yeah.
And there's more of it than ever before. More companies are commissioning work. More things are getting made and
more
released
shows
to consumers.
Exist.
But at the same time, like, the places that you would, like, the industries around that are changing rapidly and also vanishing. Like, it's reached a point where there used to be studios that would do things and they would sell them to different platforms, and now it's like it's all vertical integration, you know? Companies like Netflix, eventually, I think they're still using some studios, but like Disney is just making their own content. Disney makes a show based on a property they own and it lands on Disney Plus streaming service, you know?
Yeah.
Tip to tail, they own the whole thing. And that's more common now. So, like, these things exist, and the people who make the art have way more opportunities to get that art made, but the kind of industries around it, the money's concentrated in fewer hands. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
And as middlemen, as the people who usually have a handout at some point in the process, that creates a kind of low-grade existential dread that I live my life in.
Of course, because ultimately, we are in the way. You know, we're part of a system that has existed forever, and that doesn't necessarily make it the right system.
Yeah.
Why can't the people that make the comic give the comics directly to the public? And they try with their digital platforms. It doesn't necessarily work, but it's working, I think, now more than ever.
I think you see in most art forms kind of this swing between different elements. Like, there's the, anti-gatekeeping part of it, where it's like, all content should be available to everyone. That starts to, like, eventually drift into, people would prefer a curatorial approach, where someone somewhere is saying, even if it's an algorithm, these things, you'll probably like these 7 things, rather than here's 700 things, figure it out. Like, most people don't have the time or the energy to do that, and so they get paralyzed by choice, and they do nothing. So, stores, I think you're seeing a little bit more of a swing back towards the idea of maybe retail shops that don't stock every single thing in the way that Amazon might, or that a digital archive can stock everything, has a value, has a way of even back when you were in a video store, playing something in the store that someone goes, oh shit, I'd never even thought of that. Can I get that movie?
Yeah.
You know?
They didn't come in looking for real genius.
No.
They walked out with it. Then I had to wait till the next day till they brought it back to watch it again.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that did end up being about comics. What the shit?
Sure, of course the way it works.
Unbelievable.
Works
Not
but
intentional.
When you go shopping for a thing, a specific thing, you want a thing. You want, let's say, a contact phone charger.
Yes, okay.
And you, as a human, specifically research what you want and look for the store that has it.
Yeah.
Or you say, all right, I'm going to this store, what do they have? But
usually it's the first one. Like, specifically for like a charging pad for a cell phone, I went to a site that I like, and I knew that they had done at some point a review of charging pads, and so I went, okay, and then I looked and I said, okay, this one got good reviews, it's in my price range, let me go buy that somewhere.
So let's say you go to the store to buy it,
right,
and you thought they had it, and they don't. They're sold out, they're unavailable, whatever.
Right.
Do you buy nothing, or do you buy a different one?
I will usually buy a different... Well, it depends. So, in some circumstances, I need something right then. Like a charging pad for my phone.
That was a necessity because
my phone was about to die, and my lightning port didn't work, so I needed something to charge my phone with that night. So if Best Buy hadn't had it like they said they did, I would have bought something else instead and maybe been less happy, but I would have been fine. If it's something where... like a piece of media or something that's not a necessity, if they don't have it, I'll go someplace else until I find it. Like either a different local store or I'll buy it online.
But I wonder how many people come to Challengers looking for a specific book. If we don't have it, do they not buy it or do they buy something else? Because they wanted to buy a comic.
Yeah, I think we get a portion of both. We've seen so many times people will come in and they'll ask for one specific thing. We'll say we don't have it, offer to order it for them if we can, or just tell them we can't get it if we can't order it. And they leave. They don't want a different Fantagraphics graphic novel or something. They're looking for that specific one. And if we don't have it, and they have to wait for it anyway, they'll just order it online. Yeah. On the other hand, we get people who come in who are just browsing around. You know, they saw the store from across the street, or they made a special trip, and they just want to buy comics. So they'll look around until they find something, and maybe they find a stack of things. Kids especially. When families come in and the kids go into sidekicks, they'll come out with something. That kid has no idea what they're looking for. And the parents are just like, as long as they're reading something.
Sure.
So, the parents might try and steer, or they might ask a couple questions if the kid can't find something. And sometimes it's because they weren't looking in the right section. Sometimes it's because the thing they're asking for does not exist. But generally they find a few things and they get them. So, yeah, it's a mix of different kinds of customers. And obviously this is excluding the people who come in every Wednesday, where they have... new issues they're looking to get for specific series. So if they're not subscribers, they are looking to fill a list they have of what they need for that week.
We had 2 bizarre requests today. Mm-hmm. One, somebody asked, and I was in the back of Sidekicks cleaning up after the end of the Halloween signing. Mm-hmm. So Lizzie came back and said, how do I find out if we carry high crimes? And I said, high crimes? So I went and looked it up, and it was a Christopher Sabella book.
Oh, okay.
That was in our system, but at a quantity of 0.
Sure.
And I'm like, hey, there's we used to stock it, we don't need more. Let me just look up and see if there's a reason for it. I'm like, oh, okay. We last carried it in 2015. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, wow, that long. I'm like, yeah, there's a soft cover available. We can get it. No, that's okay. All right.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't carry it, because no one asked since...
In 4 years.
Yeah. And then one of the Halloween creators, one of the Northside comic artists, mm-hmm. had asked about the book Maintenance.
From Oni.
Yeah. And I knew exactly what it was. I'm like, we don't have that. It was Robbie, and I'm like, Robbie, Spider-Gwen, I can't remember his last name. Uh-huh. He drew those characters on the wall, and I'm pointing my but then we lost that part of the wall. But he drew the Maintenance guys. I look it up. I'm like, it is long out of print. And he's like, oh, one of the creators.
Do you want Goddess Mode instead?
One of the creators,
Robbie and Rico, they did it both.
Is a maintenance person at an art school.
Okay.
And was telling stories. I just wanted to show him that book. I already have it. I wasn't going to buy it. Like, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Uh-huh.
And then an older gentleman comes in with his son, and he's like, before I even go looking around, I'm looking for a specific issue of Detective Comics. I'm like, okay. Where Batman meets Sherlock Holmes, and I go, oh man, I'm sorry, we're not going to have that.
Yeah, I mean, and he might be in the Dark Knight Detectives collections.
He wanted the single issue.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he looked at me as if I wasn't supposed to know what he was talking about. I go, no, that's a classic anniversary issue.
Mike Barr.
What a great Mike Kaluta cover for it. I think it was 400, issue 400.
That sounds right.
He's like, well, it was an anniversary. I'm like, yeah, it had the big Batman anniversary, and it had borders around it.
He's looking through like
Sherlock, Batman is like down...
A magnifying glass?
Yeah, and Sherlock Holmes is hovering over him. And yeah. So I'm like, sir, I know exactly what you're asking for, which is how I know we do not have it. And I was going to say, I personally have it.
Yes.
In a storage locker up the street.
Uh-huh. It would only take 4 days to find it.
4 days to find it. If I didn't take any breaks.
Yes. I mean 48 straight hours, yes.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, 96 straight hours.
But I'm like, look,
that's not how days work.
It's a super fun book. I know exactly what you want. We don't have it. It's not the kind of thing we're going to have. But it's worth finding. Good luck.
Yeah, and again, I mean, if you need the story, it might be in those Mike Barr, Alan Davis collections. Maybe. Possibly.
Sure, why not? I mean...
How about Detective 1000 instead?
Right. We'll give it to you for $5.
It's 600 times better.
I feel like that's going to be a Black Friday event. Or a sale item.
Yeah, or something.
A $5.
Or something. I have an idea for that. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we need to... we got distracted with other things.
I've told people from the start, we're not going to say anything about Black Friday until November 1st. Like, that's the soon... Because people keep... We'll see
isn't it in November right now?
On the board. No.
Oh.
I'm like, after Halloween. Like, we'll...
See, it's so weird because last night, and of course tonight, everyone's doing their Halloween parties.
Sure.
And it made me think, okay, this is Halloween, so tomorrow's November. No, Halloween's like a week away.
Yeah. It is Thursday.
And I'm happy.
Once again, I hope it's not Thursday, but Chipotle's doing their, like, dress up like a burrito and get a sale, and usually lines out the door, and Thursday is usually the day I go to Chipotle.
Yeah, but would it be in the afternoon?
Who knows?
I don't know.
Anyway, you were saying.
What do you get at Challengers on Thursday if you dress up like a burrito? Kent's phone number.
Wow.
I don't know. That was just a joke. I
wow. Bold promise.
I don't even know if... no, Kent likes burritos. Kent and I have had Mexican food together, but I don't think... I had a burrito. I don't think he did. I can't remember.
I believe the only way you can get Kent's phone number on Halloween is if you dress up as either a banana or someone from Devo. Those are your two options. That's what he's looking for in a partner, is a banana or Devo.
There was a Devo Tarbis at the Survive show.
Sure.
Painted yellow with a fez, and it said capital D in cursive, EVO. And it was priced at $35. And Steve Davis is looking and goes, "Oh, that's really cool." And Ken says, "Hey, for you, buddy, it's only $35."
Rude. Highfalutin artists.
Yeah.
Typical.
Right? Good times. It's not a good time.
What's that, Patrick?
The time that we're going to spend ordering comics that come out in January.
Why?
Well, there's a lot of them.
There are more than 2.
There are a lot of comics specifically from Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
And you can say that Marvel is in a creative renaissance. You can say they have more hits now than they have in a while. But you can also say you could have that they have more garbage than ever before.
Yeah,
and
the single-to-noise ratio has not changed.
If I remember that, because I didn't bring a pen. Oh, no, I have a pencil right here. Write that down. Yeah. Thanks, Dale.
Sure, you're welcome. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, if it seems like they have more good books, it's because they have substantially more books, period, which means they also have more terrible books.
What a quote.
You're welcome. All I do is give.
Okay, good. I'll have this pen out. Boy, I wish I was taking notes this whole time.
Yeah.
I forgot that I have a... Do I have a notebook in here as well?
You do.
Yeah, and a pen for this very reason.
Look at that.
And I forgot it's all there.
So you'll always have
and
at the hand.
A handmade
Ninja
Leonardo Ninja Turtle.
Sure,
I'm sure.
Okay.
Coaster, which is with the Challenger C in the back.
Look at that. Adorable.
Color's wrong though. So anyway, I have notes.
You do.
Holy crap! What was I saying before? Oh, right. So.
The January Marvel.
No, what I was going to say is me calling some of their books garbage is unfair. Just because I don't think they're any good doesn't mean they're garbage. Doesn't mean they don't need to exist.
Ordinarily,
I'm just some crazy thing that shouldn't exist.
Ordinarily, I would agree with you that.
What was the name of the flounder from Sea Guy?
Oh God, Mickey I was the but that
Chubby the Tuna. Chubby the Tuna.
Chubby the Tuna.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
It wasn't a flounder. It was a tuna.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing.
I gotcha. I caught up on it. How great would it be if Sea Guy was in print? How great would that be?
Yep.
That's a thing that DC would like to bury in a hole in the desert and never talk about again.
I had it.
I don't know why.
I had that page with that line of dialogue that I bought in San Diego, and I got Cameron Stewart to sign it.
What is it about
and then I sold
Sea Guy
it to make money
that has made it the most misbegotten Grant Morrison project DC ever published?
And there was a sequel.
Everything else that he's done for that company is in print in weird ways sometimes.
What about...
But Sebastian O, that almost no one cared about.
What about the book after Sea Guy with all the Indian gods and goddesses?
Vimanorama. Still in print.
Okay.
It's in one of those double books with, I think, Kill Your Boyfriend probably.
Oh, right.
The other Philip Bond book.
Yep.
But all that stuff, and they're constantly reprinting that sort of stuff. And yet Sea Guy is the one that it was like 10 years ago. They're like, no thanks. I wonder why. I'm sure there's a story there. And I don't speak enough Scottish to get it out of Grant Morrison. So I don't know what to do about that. Anyway, so ordinarily I would not want to say that any art that's produced is valueless. Even stuff that's produced by a corporation, there's people who work hard on it, who are trying to tell a story, who are trying to connect with an audience. But at the same time, like, there's more and more Marvel books that I'll look at in the catalog, and I'm like, why? Why did you take someone's hard work
for
and put it into this project? I'm going through some old catalogs and stuff, and I'm looking at things that Marvel still has in print, and it's like, Jesus Christ, they did do a slapstick series.
Yeah.
A solo series. And that's part of, like, the same, like, month. That was when Marvel was at its lowest ebb creatively, where they couldn't seem to buy a hit, and every new project was like, why even do this when not only is it not going to sell now, but it has no hope of ever selling? No one's going to rediscover this in 15 years.
No. It's
going to sit in a warehouse, in crates. It might as well not exist. And the people who worked on it should have been given work that would merit rediscovery or have people actually engaged in it. Instead, it's just like, stores are going to sell 3,000 copies. You're going to sell 3,000 copies of this to stores. They are mostly going to go in back issue boxes that no one's ever going to touch. And I see that still in Marvel's solicitations, even at a time where they're doing stuff like more Hickman X-Men stuff. And they just announced 2 new projects just this week. Giant Size X-Men #1, where I hope it's Hickman writing each one. At least for the first one, it's Hickman and Russell Dauterman.
What
doing a
team,
a Jean Grey Emma Frost Storm story.
As the BBC Radio 1 DJs always say, what a tune, what a banger.
Yeah, like that seems unbelievably good. There was another X-Men book, and I can't remember, what was the other X-Men book that just got announced? Do you remember?
X-Men Fantastic Four.
X-Men Fantastic Four, which
Chip
is
Zdarsky,
Terry Dodson, Rachel Dodson.
Yeah, a 5-issue mini?
Yeah, completely spinning off of the House of X #1. I think it was #1.
Yeah.
The moment where Cyclops basically like tells Reed and Sue that Franklin always has a place on Krakoa. And now it's going to immediately deal with that storyline of, what does that mean for Franklin Richards when he can go live with mutants? Like, what does it mean for him as the child of Reed and Sue Richards? Like, that's a story that I think a lot of people wanted to read as soon as that was sort of teased. And these are good projects, and they can expand the X-Men line kind of as much as they want. We had said a month or so ago that the real litmus test for how engaged people were going to be with the X-Men franchise coming out of House of X and Powers of 10 was not X-Men #1, it was Marauders #1. Because that was the first non-Hickman X-Men book in 13 weeks. And if it's a thing where only Hickman can tell those stories, and only Hickman stories are what people are engaged in, that's a problem for the whole line. But we enjoyed Marauders #1, and everyone, not everyone, but pretty much most of the people that had not signed up for Marauders #1 that then picked up Marauders #1 when they saw it on the shelves, emailed us back in the next 48 hours to go, yeah, add it to my list.
Sure. And honestly, I expect that to continue with the other 4 books. Maybe not all 4 of them, but...
Yeah, it seems like the trepidation people had has been alleviated somewhat by reading Marauders #1 and going, oh, I don't normally like this writer, and which a few people had said, but they liked that book. And I like that book. I'm going to read number 2 of Marauders, and that's a thing where I frequently only read issue 1s of Marvel books because I go, okay, I get what the book's about. It's not for me, but at least I know how to answer questions and pitch the book. That's what I need it for, as a sales tool.
I wonder if another test will be the first week that 2 X books are out, or if X-Men, like, #3 is out the same week as Fallen Angels #3.
Yeah.
If people be like, oh, I can get X-Men, I'll leave that one behind.
I guess chronologically, the next hurdle's going to be for Dawn of X week 4, because that is New Mutants #1 and X-Force #1 coming out.
Yeah.
So that's 2 #1 issues that people don't necessarily know if they want, and that may result in some people saying, okay, New Mutants is co-written by Hickman or written by Hickman, so that's the one I'm going to get. Maybe I'll check out X-Force next week, which always means I'm never going to read X-Force.
Right.
So it depends if people are willing to go in for 2 $5 #1 issues from Dawn of X in the same week. I hope they will. I think they will, but we'll find out. But anyway, that's not really the entirety of the neither of the books that we just talked about, Giant Size or X-Men Fantastic Four, are in the January catalog.
No, they're for February, I
don't think any new X-Men stuff is in there. Am I wrong on that?
Wolverine #1?
No.
Oh, it's not listed for January?
No.
Interesting. Huh. Then I haven't, I don't know for sure.
Okay, I think no. I'm working on the catalog, but do I have it? I have it on my phone. I can bring it up real quick if you want to talk about something
Well,
else.
what I was going to say as an overarching theme for the January orders, and I'm focusing on the big 2.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I guess, no, never mind. I was going to make a bad joke. A mean joke, not a bad joke. It'd be a funny joke. So, DC Comics.
DC comic books.
DC Entertainment.
DC Comics.
For their line for the month, they have 69 single-issue comics.
Is this for January, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
In there are 3 #1 issues.
Yes, I'm looking at them right now. Are you counting Superman Heroes?
Okay, look. This information is not tabulated by me. This comes from...
Okay, here's what they are.
Ryan Higgins of Comics Conspiracy in Sunnyvale, California, which is just outside of San Jose.
Assuming my
Not Dal, Sunnydale. Sunnyvale.
That doesn't sound right. Assuming my list is right, I've got the 3 #1s as Superman Heroes #1, which is a one-shot for $6. Birds of Prey #1, which is a $10 prestige format one-shot. And then Daphne Byrne, which is a 6-issue Hill House miniseries.
Okay. Well, my next statistic is 23 one-shots or miniseries. 5 reprints.
Yes.
and 38 ongoing series.
Okay. DC has done a lot the last few years to reduce their footprint.
Yeah.
I guess you'd say. A lot of low-selling solo hero titles that normally would just be on the stands forever. They would just do a new one and a new one and a new one, even though they're not selling. It seems like they stepped back and said, let's not do a Green Arrow book for a while if we don't have any ideas for Green Arrow.
Yeah.
And then some of the, like, they're only doing 3 Justice League books right now, and they might do 4 or 5 if they could figure it out.
Or less than 3.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a weird time for DC, but yeah, they have definitely reduced the ongoing series that they publish.
So, Dal, I just told you that DC has 3 number 1s, and you could name them.
I did.
Can you do the same for Marvel?
Oh, golly. I can try.
Well, because Marvel has 39 number 1s.
That sounds about right.
43 one-shots or miniseries. 14...
Which, for that 43 thing, some of those are in the 39
right.
number 1s.
No,
so
I know.
Okay.
This is not...
I just want to make that clear to people listening that does not mean in addition to. That means also an attribute of.
14 reprints, 49 ongoing series.
Okay. Do you want me to list the number 1s for you?
I don't. I was just... Because
It's a lot.
Because you have something you're scrolling through.
I did. And I was just working on the new catalog, the January catalog, yesterday. Because, like I told you before, Patrick, there was a formatting error from Diamond where there were weird characters showing up in all the solicits. And so I had to go through every single one and correct them. And Jesus Christ, Marvel took forever. It reached a point where I was so angry doing it because the list was never ending that I basically stopped 2/3 of the way through to just go do something else.
Of course.
Because I would have just started literally screaming. Like, I was already, like, verbally, audibly berating my monitor from how angry it was making me, and I'm like, this isn't healthy. Don't do this to yourself.
Not the monitor's fault.
No.
It's the anti-monitor's fault.
Maybe.
39 number 1s.
Yeah.
14 reprints.
And it's a month where there's a bunch of different, like, The Ruins of Ravencroft, which is not only a 5-issue miniseries, but 3 different one-shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 The End one-shots that are each $5. A bunch of new miniseries.
The 2099 stuff for Iron Man.
2020, but it's,
2020,
it's only Iron Man 2020 for the first month.
Oh, okay. God, so I still have to look forward to.
But there's stuff like Avengers of the Wastelands, which is a spin-off of Old Man Quill and Dead Man Logan. A 5-issue Daily Bugle series spotlighting Robbie Robertson that no one ever asked for. A 4-issue Alan Davis, Paul Renaud, Avengers Defenders flashback story. 2 issues of a 5-issue Hawkeye miniseries.
Is it
wrong
Tarot?
Hawkeye. Yeah.
Don't call it Tarot. Call it Avengers Defenders Tarot.
Nope. Just call Tarot.
No one knows what Tarot is unless they're thinking of the Jim Ballant comic.
I don't think they even want to say Defenders, because it's sort of weird, because like the intro to the solicitation text is an all-new epic adventure teaming the classic Earth's Mightiest Heroes with Marvel's premier non-team by Alan Davis and Paul Renaud. Like, nowhere in here does it say Avengers or Defenders. Like,
yeah, man,
very
but
strange to me.
just calling it Tarot, no one knows what that is.
There's a Immortal Hulk Great Power one-shot where Spider-Man becomes a Hulk. A 5-issue Atlantis Attack series, which is basically 5 more issues of Agents of Atlas.
Yeah.
A Web of Venom one-shot. A new 5-issue Marvel's Spider-Man video game comic book.
Featuring Black Cat.
Yeah.
Because her series is selling so well, and I guess it is for them.
I feel like this is adapting the downloadable content, because that was 3 chapters spotlighting Black Cat, so that may be this. Yeah, I mean, there's just a million things. That's not even counting...
The Jessica Jones miniseries is just the online stuff.
I'm not even putting in our online catalog, because you can already buy that as a graphic novel.
Okay, that was my question. Is that the graphic novel?
Series.
Yeah, why are you...
Yeah, it's like they realized, we did it the wrong way around and left money on the table. Let's do that. There's obviously good stuff for the month. The new Thor comic by Donny Cates and Nick Klein.
Like, I don't even want to carry that Jessica Jones miniseries. We already have it.
Purposely did not put it on the catalog because I would only do special orders for that. Anyone who tries to special order it, I will say, I can sell you the whole story right now. You don't even have to wait till January for the first part, let alone the remaining parts. You can buy the whole thing today. Yeah, I mean, the big ones for the month from Marvel are definitely Thor and Star Wars.
Yeah.
And Guardians of the Galaxy. So, best thing about, I think, Thor and Star Wars, maybe just Star Wars, come out January 1st.
Both Thor and Star Wars.
Because of the holiday production schedules and when essentially the printing presses are closed, the final order cutoff date for those books and all of that week's Marvel stuff is 4 days before the catalog is turned in.
Yeah, that's dumb.
So if you turn in the catalog, the initial order, you've already missed the window to lock in your orders by 4 days. Diamond basically had to scramble to put out an email to retailers to say, you have to make sure you order these before you order them in the catalog, or else you will not have them. Or we can't guarantee you'll have them. So it was on New to Order, of all things.
Yes. I saw all that and said, what are these books?
Yeah, that's why.
All of that week's books.
Yeah.
Image's books, Marvel's books.
Luckily, Image and Marvel are really the only two, and Image's stuff, there's no brand new series. It's just like issues of Coffin Bound or something.
Yeah,
so
issue of Copra.
But we have to do... It was frustrating to me as a retailer for a lot of reasons, but one reason was that it's Diamond and Marvel asking us to lock in our orders for something that we have not even told our customers about yet. That we have no subscribers for, because the month we would spend soliciting subscriber orders and locking subscriber orders in to figure out what we need to order, we don't have. We have 4 days less than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's... I was not going to do anything I need to order. I'll catch it on final order cutoff, even though that will be like the Sunday before Thanksgiving.
What? So
I'll figure it out.
Star Wars #1.
Yes. Very excited about it as a Star Wars fan, I gotta tell you.
Okay,
As someone who was getting bored with the current approach,
sure.
Excited about the new one.
So let's talk numbers. We were, in Star Wars #1,
Yeah.
was like over 100 copies for us.
Right.
Now it's at like 24, 26?
Yeah, I mean, we were maybe 2 or 3 copies for the shelf.
24?
Yeah.
So what do we do for this new one?
I would probably do 40.
Okay, that's exactly the number that I had in my head.
40 to 50.
But like, I don't. This is definitely not a 180 to 100.
Oh no! I mean, I'm excited about it as a fan, but I don't think a lot of the people who are maybe not too into it would be into it now. I think there's a few people who will jump back on because it's #1. I think the creative team is incredibly strong. Charles Soule and Jesus Saez, I think, are super talented dudes. I like the pages they've shown off so far. I think post-Empire is a really fertile ground for them to till. A lot of good stories you can tell just by shifting around the characters and having it be post-I Am Your Father. Like, that's a bombshell that changes the rest of the franchise. So that's cool to do that. I wonder if we're going to get new subscribers for it or if it's just going to be people who pick it up off the shelf once it's out. So 40 to 50 is kind of what I'm looking at. Everyone who gets Star Wars now, we're just going to copy over.
Although I think there'll be a few people that don't want it.
Maybe. I doubt it. I mean, it comes out the month after the Star Wars series ends, and that's had a bunch of different writers. Charles Soule has done...
like 2 weeks after the movie.
Yeah, and Charles Soule has done a bunch of different Star Wars things, so it's not like he's an untested creator. I mean, there was a period where Darth Vader was outselling Star Wars for us.
I had a big Star Wars fan club member in today, and he's like, "Did you watch the trailer?" I go, "Yeah." "How many times?"
Once.
Once? Just once?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, well, I follow this guy, and there's a guy who... I guess there's a scene where there's an armada or a lot of ships coming.
Yeah.
You can't say resistance, because they're not the resistance, but, those...
You can't?
Because they're not the... I think you meant the rebels. You can't say rebels.
No, you can call them the resistance.
So, somebody froze the scene with all the ships, and named every ship, every class, like engine size, all of that. And he's like, yeah, I caught Ghost was there. I don't know what Ghost is.
Ghost is the ship from Star Wars Rebels.
Okay, but who's on it? What is it? What?
Probably Captain Hera Syndulla.
Okay.
And her kid.
And then the Admiral Akbar people.
The Mon Calamari.
The Mon Calamari.
That you were so crestfallen, I think, to find out that they were called Mon Calamari.
All right, let me tell you a quick story from today.
Okay.
Which actually was from yesterday, but then I told it today.
You were going to lie.
On the New to Order for Diamond, they had a bunch of tiki glasses for horror characters.
Oh, okay.
Like Jason, Freddy.
New to Order now?
Leatherface.
Like recently?
Yesterday, on Friday.
So, way after Halloween is when they'll ship.
Yeah.
All right.
Months from now.
Super smart. Anyway, go on.
So I was jokingly showing them. I started with Annabelle. There was an Annabelle one.
Okay.
I'm like, hey Gina, did you want an Annabelle glass? But then there's like, oh my god, because they weren't all together. They were scattered throughout.
Sure.
And there was Ghostface from Scream.
Okay.
And the way Ghostface, the tiki glass was made, I said out loud to Gina, I never got this before. That is modeled after the Edward Munch painting, The Scream.
The Scream.
Well, yeah, okay. And she's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, no, seriously, like, I never got that till right now.
Okay.
So I told that story today to a bunch of local creators. None of them had gotten it either.
Wow.
They're all like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, you guys, it's not just me.
You art background people can't pick out a famous painting.
No, because it ruined it. They bastardized it. It wasn't until this distorted tiki glass that I'm like, oh, that's it.
Oh, that's like the guy who's holding his face and he's making a noise out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
And then one of them said that there's a meme where somebody has a certain kind of dog that looks just like that. And all of that. But it's like, literally, I had never made that connection. I'm sure there's people listening going, come on, idiot. I'm like, well, I owned up to it. Sure. I admitted it.
Yeah, you didn't try to pretend like, well, there's a reason. Like, no, you just missed it.
Yeah.
Those things happen.
Yeah. But as this story was being told about the ships, he didn't say Mon Calamari, he just said Moncal.
Moncal. Yeah.
Which...
fan abbreviation.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy is a capital F fan.
Yeah.
But...
so I always considered myself a capital F fan, but you know what? I watched that Rise of the Skywalker trailer.
Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker? The Rise of Skywalker?
The Rise of Skywalker.
I watched it one time and was like, okay. Like, I think my problem with it...
You already have the guidebook on order.
I do. I always get the visual dictionaries that come out, because most of the stuff in the movie, they never tell you what anything is. It just exists in the universe. And I'm always a little curious, like, what is this character's deal? What is their name? What is their ship called, or their weapon, or
what is their backstory? What makes them tick?
Because, like, that's one
Do they like Night Flight Orchestra?
I bet the great things about Star Wars is, A, they all like Night Flight Orchestra, but B, they all have backstories. So there's always this, like, the more you can delve into the universe. But anyway, so I watched the trailer, and it looked okay. I'm excited about the movie to a degree. Like, I have tickets already for the premiere. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. I'm sure I'll see it a few more times than that. But the promotional aspect now is I think, really wrong-headed, because it's got this J.J. Abrams, we don't want to give anything away. We don't want to tell you anything of the story. We want to show you as little as possible and maybe get you thinking the wrong way so you'll be surprised by stuff. Mystery box. And, like, the promotion then just becomes, it is more Star Wars. And I think now in 2019, that is not enough. Because there's so much Star Wars all the time.
The end of this saga. This is the end of 3 trilogies.
Right.
Will the next Star Wars movies have anything to do with Poe Dameron or Finn or Rey?
Probably
or
not.
Rose? Right. So this is a big deal. I do. My favorite thing to tell people is that the scene where 3PO says, "Oh look, I used a fan abbreviation." Says,
I
just wanted
they call
to
him
look at
3PO in the movie a lot. So
I just want to look at my friends one last time. And then it cuts.
Uh-huh.
What you didn't see was Poe Dameron saying, "We're not your friends."
Where are they?
Then why are you looking at us?
Do you mean R2? He's to your right. You work for us. We're not friends.
Your friends are all dead.
You're like an indentured servant.
You mean your friend Han, your friend Leia, your friend Luke? Yeah. They're all dead.
Even then, you were property. Darth Vader made you.
You're a slave.
Yeah. Come on. Like, even your original so-called friends wiped your memory. And then had you go working for, like, their daughter. Like, it's this is weird. You're weird. You live a weird life, 3PO. Anyway, I don't think they're going to grapple with any of that in Star Wars: The Rise of the Skywalker. I know that's not what
I know. I know you know that. That's why I did not correct you.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't think they're going to delve into droid slavery. I mean, it's funny because the Solo movie, for all of the things it did wrong, took a minute in the middle to go, wait a second, restraining bolts? These are thinking creatures, and you have them just working on stuff with no... You buy and sell them. This is weird. That's weird. But as always, you can thank Phoebe Waller-Bridge for that. I mean, she didn't write the movie, but she embodied that character.
Funny story, when she went to audition for it, she did not know what a droid was.
Sure.
and
Why should she have to?
had no idea. And then after she did it, they're like, okay, can you do more droid-like? And she didn't know what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, do you... And one of the people who was... one of the casting people then said, like a droid, and did like a mechanical arm movement. And she's like, oh, they're robots.
Oh, I'm playing a robot?
And then she got it, and she was able to adjust the delivery appropriately.
She is easily one of the top 3 things in that movie.
Yep. K2SO. Mm-hmm. Boom, 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 boom. That's not her.
That's not her.
That's Alan Tudyk.
That's Alan Tudyk.
And that's a different movie.
Yeah. He's great in that movie.
Sure.
Most of the droid performers do a pretty good job.
Yeah. Like Ben Schwartz.
Yeah, Ben Schwartz. Bill Hader.
Barry.
Yeah.
All right, we way off of
Are we, though?
Comics.
We are. That was just the equivalent of us playing Star Wars in the store.
Yeah, right? There it is. And we got into that because of the Star Wars comic.
We did.
Which is one of the bright spots of the 103 Marvel comics that are coming out for the month.
Yeah, again, it's... for the new books, Star Wars, Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy, those are the big ones. The Ravencroft thing, as soon as we heard about that from New York Comic Con, we were like, that seems like a huge mistake.
We trashed it on this podcast.
The Marvel the End stuff, I'm interested in a few of them. Marvel's X, I'm so far past the point where I care about the Earth X universe that doing a prequel to it now is, I don't know, fine, I guess. It's getting Earth X back into print, so I guess I'm okay with that. But mostly I like one-shots and stuff. I don't have much confidence in. I don't think people are going to be too into them. But it's a 5-week month, so what are you going to do?
Is it? Okay.
I mean, January. The first stuff comes out, I think,
that's
January
true.
1st.
January 1st, yeah. But it's a Thursday, so what?
What? Is it really? No.
No, it's a Wednesday. You're right.
It's a Wednesday.
Sorry.
Because Christmas is a Wednesday, and we will be closed because there won't be any new books.
Will there be new books on Thursday?
I think we had heard that there was some stuff that we'll get the week before, but I don't know if that's still true or not.
I mean, we would have just ordered it.
We haven't. Do you look at the release dates for stuff you're ordering in December?
Nope.
Yeah, so we'll notice it on FOCs. And,
yes, I'm very diligent at my job.
Yes. But yeah, I don't think, even if there is anything, I don't think there's going to be a lot. It's holiday weeks like that where Christmas falls on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Publishers just don't have the bandwidth to get that stuff out into stores generally.
And people are traveling and blah, 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 blah.
Mostly because, it's also, the printers basically close around Thanksgiving, and that's when you'd be printing stuff for Christmas. So,
I can tell you, though, for New Year's Day, which is January 1st, 2020, which is a Wednesday, we are doing a midnight release for Thor #1 and Star Wars #1.
No, we are not. We are definitely not. Let me assure you of that.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
Hey, I seem to recall you in the store at midnight on January 1st a couple times.
Was that really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, when we had those parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not doing that again.
Well, why not? Midnight release.
Uh-huh.
Well, those will take a whole different shape in the new year, I'm sure.
Yeah. We joke about these things, but every time we joke and dismiss, that's the stuff we end up doing. And now I can just feel this, pressure of, God damn it. Someone's going to come to us and be like, oh, I'd show up for that. And it's like, God damn it. I'm not saying yes to it, but I'm not saying absolutely not.
Well, we haven't... It's not like Marvel has offered it to us or anything. Or
I guess.
Yeah. I'm sure if we ask them, though.
Probably. I'm sure
who
would be like, if you want...
Who wouldn't want a champagne toast with Thor #1 to start the new year?
Yep. The good news is CTA will get you the store for free.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You can ride the trains for free.
Yeah, buses and trains. They'll get you where you're going.
Yeah. Huh. Look at that.
Yes.
That is...
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no, we're still talking about it, Patrick.
Oh, man, it might happen.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I am not entirely opposed to it.
Oh, no. This sucks so bad.
Only, because we are open on New Year's days. So it's not like it's a...
definitely going to be open that Wednesday, for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Let us know if you're interested.
Oh, no. No, don't.
Again, we can't just say, we're doing it. We have to have permission from one publisher.
I guarantee you we would not even be the only retailer that approached a publisher about doing a midnight release for January 1st books.
Sure.
Guarantee it.
I mean,
someone
soon as this is
somewhere
over,
is like, I'll do it.
I am emailing David Gabriel.
Oh no.
To say, hey buddy.
Oh no.
What do you think of that?
Huh.
I feel like we might have to end here because that's all we can think about.
Oh god.
Unless you had anything else you wanted me to bring up.
I don't think so. I'm trying to think of anything that happened in comics news this week. The Hickman X-Men stuff was sort of a weird surprise.
Yeah.
Coming just
a great
few
surprise.
Weeks. Oh yeah, for sure. Very
Both those books are I'm excited for Moira X, even though we don't know who's writing it.
Right.
I'm excited for... I'll tell you, we did have a club member in today who is...
Writing Moira X.
Excited and just added Excalibur #1.
Cool.
But kind of feels like...
Is that Vita? Who's writing Excalibur?
I don't remember. Teenie Howard.
Teenie Howard, you're right. Because Vita Ayala and...
are the ones that
Leah Williams are doing some Wave 2 stuff.
Yeah. But he was disappointed that... Like, his all-time favorite X-Men story is Mutant Massacre.
Oh, okay.
Now he doesn't know where that fits in. I'm like, it definitely fits in.
Like the early 200s, around like issue 211 and 210.
But what timeline?
This one, that never changed. There is stuff that they will probably want to talk about, but all that stuff still happened.
Sure.
Like, it's not like Professor Xavier's been wearing a giant cerebral helmet on his head forever now.
Right.
Like, that just happened. Because when... There have been Hickman-written conversations between Sue Richards and Cyclops and Corsair and Cyclops that have basically said, this is different now. This is not how you did things before.
Right. Where people are noticing the change.
Yeah. This is an overnight change. So, yeah, all those stories still happened. A lot of what Cyclops tells Sue Richards in House of X #1 is him talking about the fact that everything that happened to him up until House of X #1. Like, how his family has been, like, hunted and, hurt for just being mutants. Like, all that stuff still happened.
Yeah.
They weren't all living on Krakoa. Marauders, pages 1 and 2 are, this is a change now for Kitty Pryde.
Who?
Well, at that point, she's Kitty Pryde.
Okay.
Now she's Kate Pryde.
Yeah, but apparently she's always hated being Kitty, which is a thing that I felt a little more forced. Like, this isn't anything she's ever expressed before.
Maybe. I assume they'll talk about that.
There was a point where, all right, so
sure.
Historically, in our past,
mm-hmm.
in this timeline, mm-hmm. I was known as Pat.
Yeah.
You were Dal.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was a point where you wanted to switch to Will
mm-hmm.
when you went to high school.
Yeah, because my name on all of the attendance sheets was... Dal's my middle name, so nothing was ever under Dal, so it was just Will's fine.
Right. And then I switched to Patrick after too many phone mishaps and people thinking I was saying Dan or whatever.
Or Dad, like you were their dad.
Yeah,
like their dad
exactly.
had shown up at the shop you were working at, and that was just confusing for them in a lot of ways.
But to my lifelong friends, I'm still Pat. Mm-hmm. The weirdest part to me was when you and Jimmy switched over. Mm. And for you sometimes call me Pat, but you mainly call me
Only
Patrick.
by mistake.
But I mean, that's
just a neuron not firing, and the
right,
wrong syllable comes out.
Or a car's rushing at us, and you need me to brake.
Sure.
That's when you yell, Pat! But, like, you're allowed to call me Pat. Like, it's...
Yeah, but I don't want to.
Okay. It's just, like, that's...
I didn't think of them as different tiers of, like, friendship.
Okay.
So,
That's fine. So, like, things can... Like, the whole Kitty thing, sure. Like, she could underlying have been all along thinking, it's not Kitty.
Adults do that, though. I mean, a lot of kids have abbreviated versions of their name or nicknames that past a certain age, it's just like, that just sounds too infantilizing.
Yeah.
And you don't think of yourself as, like, that's a kid version of you, and you're the adult version of you, and the easiest way to signify that is to kind of alter your name a little bit, to say, oh, I was Danny, now I'm Dan, or Daniel. Like, that's Danny is a kid's name. Dan is a teenager and adult's name. Daniel is an adult's name. And I don't mean that to be any disrespect to anyone who's named Danny who's listening to this. You can call yourself whatever you want. But I think that's kind of in a lot of people's psychology. That's kind of how it operates.
It also is a mechanism that lets me know how people know me or how long they've known me by what they call me.
Sure.
Like, all of the people that work for us since we've been open, I'm Patrick.
Right.
But for the people that knew me before, like Samantha,
or as
who prefers
previously
Sam,
mentioned,
and I always call her Samantha.
this episode, Steve Davich.
Yeah. I'm Pat.
Yeah, Steve always calls you Pat.
Yeah. So anyway...
It sounds wrong in my mouth.
That's fine. Which, to be fair, I did not call you Will.
No, again, that was only ever to my memory.
I remember you asking me to call you. You're saying like, "Hey, I'm going by Will now."
Okay,
and I'm like, "No, I'm an alpha bully. I'm not going to let that happen."
Yeah, I think it was. It's hard to remember how I felt at that point. I mean, that stuff is filed away in a version
long
of my
buried
brain
in the past.
I can't access anymore. But I know for generally it was for school because again, all of the attendance stuff, all of the record keeping, like. A teacher, at a certain point, I could get them to call me Dal. I remember that it was Dal, but for the most part, it was always like my full first name, and I would just go like, just it Will, and they could figure that out way faster. So it was just more expedient, I guess. But that only lasted really as long as high school, and then once that was done, it was just Dal to everybody. I mean, the only people I knew after high school were my friends from high school, and they all called me Dal anyway. None of them called me Will.
So there you go.
Yeah, that's the story.
For Christmas, I'm getting you a Challenger's name tag. This is Will.
Oh, no. I won't wear it.
You can give me one. This is Pat.
No.
It looks wrong in my eyes when I see it written down.
Yeah. It's weird. It's a typo.
So, Kitty can change. That's fine.
Yeah. And I think there will be stuff...
Yeah, I have problems with it.
Like, there's people who are professional nitpickers, and they are always going through things, finding plot holes and errors, and... It's like, those are just stories that haven't been told yet. And I give all of the Dawn of X people a ton of latitude to decide, we don't want to give you the boring backstory now. Like, eventually we will do stories that connect, that moment from Matthew Rosenberg's Uncanny X-Men to Jonathan Hickman's House of X. But if we started House of X with that, immediately it's telling you are too late to the story.
Yeah. This has to be... a starting point for everyone.
Everything has to be fresh and accessible. And
we even had people in today who are like, I love coming to the store every week and to be excited for it, and I'm here for Marauders.
Yeah. Are we sold out yet? How are we selling on that? Do you know?
Oh, so fine. We just I added a bunch more to the...
Okay.
No, we're not sold out.
Okay. I didn't think we were, but it was selling a little faster than I'd expected, maybe.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And the amount of people who were not putting up a ton of resistance to it. Like, occasionally when a new number one comes out, people have a budget or people want to keep their list small, so unless it's a surefire home run, they don't want to touch it. So when you're like, it's actually really good or it's pretty fun, like, they already have kind of made up their mind and they push back against it. But the amount of people who just come up to the counter and they look at Marauders number one and we go, oh, we actually read it, it was pretty good, they pick it up.
Yep.
Like, they didn't need a huge push, they needed someone they trusted to say, this was actually good.
Or us.
Yeah. I mean, the people they trusted obviously weren't there, but we were convincing enough.
We just wanted to see our friends one last time. Mm-hmm. Well, seeing as how this is a comics industry business podcast on the Yak Channel Podcast Network in Chicago, there may not have been a whole lot of business talk this week. Mm-hmm. Trust us, there will be.
Probably next week. As always, we can't guarantee anything, but probably next week.
Thanks for listening.
Keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.